o'quvchilarga yetkazish prosesida hazırlab berganiga chin ko'ngildan rahmat aytaman.
First of all, I would like to express my deep appreciation to the Turkish Academic Students Organization and also to Amnesty International for organizing this wonderful symposium. Also, I would like to appreciate my thanks to Free University for providing the venue.
Uyghur halkınınki hazırki tatıb atqan azap oqibətlərinin avazını anlaş üçün özünün qimmatli vaxtını çıxırıb, muşu zalına kirib anlab atqan barlıq oquvchi və oqutquchi xadim əfəndimlərə chin ko'ngildan rahmat aytaman.
I also want to thank all the students and teachers, professors, and each and every one of you who are here to listen to the suffering of the Uyghur people under Chinese rule.
Ben bugün halkımın ahvalısıyla tanıştırış prosesine eriştim. Biz Uygurlar yukarıda bu yerde eğitim ötüp ketdi. Manju'nun vaxtıdan çınlap besip alğanda 1840 yılı Manjular bizden besip alğan Xitay xalqının besip alğan. Bizni faqat onundan keyin bizning xalqimiz ish qitim kurash qilib, tajovuzchi mustamlikchilarni qo'g'lab chiqarib, o'zi mustaqil Sharq Turkiston davlati qurgan.
As you have seen from the film that the first time we were occupied by the Manchu Qing dynasty in 1884, initially the Manchu Qing dynasty also occupied China. And since then the Uyghur people declared twice independence from Chinese rule.
Endi Sharq Turkiston degan gapni men tushuntirib o'tib ketaman. Bizningki G'arbiy Turkiston, Sharqiy Turkiston degan hammasi burun bir Turkiston bo'lib, hozirgi O'zbekiston, Qozog'iston, Qirg'iziston, hozir biz yashayotgan Xinjiang Uyg'ur avtonom rayon o'z ichiga olgan bir Turkiston edi. Lekin ularni Rossiya besib oldi. Uningdagi Rossiyaning kuchi bilan bizni Xitoyga besib berdi. Hozir ular mustaqil bo'ldi. Biz hozir Xitoyning mustamlik ostida turyapmiz.
And I would like to explain the name of our country, why it's called East Turkestan. Historically, there is one Turkestan which includes, the western part includes today's Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan. Those countries were occupied by the Tsarist Russians, and after the collapse of the Soviet Union, they became free and independent states. However, East Turkestan is still under Chinese rule, which has become what is now the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region.
1949-yılı bizning oxirgi qitim qurilgan Sharq Turkiston davlatini Tibetni besib olishdan 1 yil burun bizni besib oldi. 1 yil keyin Tibet xalqini Tibet davlatini besib oldi.
And in 1949, the Chinese communists, with the support of the Russians, occupied East Turkestan, a year before its occupation of Tibet.
Shuningdan keyin bular bizga besib olgan vaqtida Xinjiang Uyg'ur 5 yildan keyin Xinjiang biz shu yerning yerlik millati bo'lganligimiz uchun 86% Uyg'ur xalqi bo'lib, qolgan qarindosh Qozoq, Qirg'iz, O'zbek qarindoshlarimiz 10% bo'lib, besib olgan Xitoylar 2% bo'lganligi uchun bizga Xinjiang Uyg'ur avtonom rayon degan qonun berildi.
Then the Chinese government changed the name of the region to what is now the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, in recognition of the majority status of the Uyghur people, which was about 86%. And also other Turkic ethnic groups, including Kazakh, Kyrgyz, and Uzbeks, they are more than 13 or 14%. And the Chinese were like 1 or 2% at the time.
Xitoylar besib olgan vaqtida bizning Xitoy hukumati dunyoga bu yerda 13 millat bor edi, 13 boshqa ko'chman millatlar bo'lib biz 13 millat bor.
At that time, the Chinese government recognized 13 indigenous groups in the region.
Bizni besib olgandan keyin Xinjiang Uyg'ur avtonom rayon degan qonunni bergan vaqtida o'z tilimiz bilan so'zlaydiganligimiz, o'z diniy e'tiqodimizga hurmat qiladiganligini va iqtisodiy jihatdan yuksalish, hamma jihatdan o'z taqdirimizni o'zimiz belgilaydiganligimizga va'da qilgan va shunda qonunlar berilgan edi.
After China established the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, the Chinese government promised the Uyghur people self-rule. Also promised that China would respect the language, culture, religion of the Uyghur people, and also the Uyghurs will develop their own economy.
Hatta ko'chmanlarni eng iqtidorli mushundaq bir texnik egillarni bizning rostimiz bilan akiladiganligini va'da berilgan edi.
China also promised that they will limit the number of Chinese immigration into East Turkestan. They will only allow skilled and educated Chinese to come to the region to help develop.
Lekin 60 yıldan buyon Uyghur xalqi tinchlik, kishilik huquq, demokratiya, erkinlik, o'zining milliy kimligini qo'g'dab qilish degan so'zlardan yoki diniy e'tiqodidan so'z etish mumkin emas. Aql turmuga tashlanish, o'ldirish va bostirish bilan bir kunmi tinchlikka erisholmadi.
However, under 60 years of China's brutal rule in the region, the Uyghur people had never been able to enjoy any kind of human rights, democracy, or freedom of any kind, and no peace of any kind. When the Uyghurs resisted or demanded their rights, the Chinese government used arrest and executions to intimidate the entire population.
Dastlabki vaqtda biz bilan birga Uyg'ur, Qozoq, Qirg'iz, O'zbek, Tatar qarindoshlarimizni birlikda qattiq necha minglab bostirdi.
In the initial stages of Chinese occupation, the Chinese government systematically massacred Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, Uzbek, and Tatars.
Keyin bu O'rta Osiyoda bizning qarindoshlarimiz mustaqil bo'lgandan keyin bostirishni, tek uchini bizga qaratib, qolgan boshqa millatlarni bizga o'shtirishga boshladi.
But after the independence of these peoples in Central Asia in 1991, the Chinese government began to specifically target the Uyghurs for persecution.
Bo'libmi dunyo terrorizm harakatidan keyin Uyg'ur xalqi islom diniga e'tiqod qilganligi uchun biz dunyo terrorizm harakatidan burun Uyg'urlar har qanday qattiq bostirishlar, har qanday tutqunlar va har qanday vaziyat ostida o'zimizning milliy kimligimizni, diniy e'tiqodimizni intayin qattiq qo'llab kelgandik. Lekin Xitoy hukumatı dunyo terrorizm harakatidan foydalanib, Uyg'ur xalqining islom diniga e'tiqod qildigidan foydalanib, butun dunyoga bizni terrorist deb e'lon qilib, bizni bostirishni va milliy kimligimizni yo'qotishni, shu milliy qirg'inchilik qilishni nihoyat jiddiy ilgari surdi.
And after 9/11 terrorist attacks, the Chinese government saw that as a historic opportunity to launch a wholesale attack on the entire Uyghur population, using Uyghur people's faith in Islam against the Uyghurs by committing intensified acts of cultural genocide and also by launching heavy-handed repression in the region.
Mesela 2003 yıldan başlap özünün avtonomluğun kanununa xilaf halda öz çıkargan kanunga özü riayet qilmay bizni qo'sh tillik ma'arif degan yolg'on qalpoq bilan ona tilimizni, yezikimizni ma'arifdan butunlay qo'llab chiqardi.
For example, starting in 2003,